So meanwhile, I'm just asking you to go ahead and share the screen, and then.
Can you see my screen now?
Just a second. Yes, we can see your screen. Can you put in a full more? Yes, that's better. Okay. All right, so I see we are already live. Okay, so welcome everyone, those who are live streaming on YouTube, those who are right here on this platform. We are moving on with our second part of the day's event of the session. We are going to look into career and passion. How do we connect the things that we are really, really passionate about to our career? So it's all about dream jobs, dream career, making it real, making it truly happening in a way that is rewarding. So that's what we are going to be looking at, because in the world of today, we have moved from, our older generation just lived to make an earning and support families. It wasn't about doing what you love and things like that. So our grandmothers, our parents didn't have that pleasure. But nowadays we get to choose. We get to do the things that we love. We get to go for jobs or study the things that you really enjoy, hoping that you can get a job in that area. So it's more about that. It's beyond just living to earn money, but really loving what you do. So how do we do it right? How do we enjoy what we are doing, but at the same time, it is something that is it's supporting our well-being, our lives, like improving our standard of living, our quality of life, and things like that. So we want to kind of have a balance, a pleasure of both. So today, that's what we are going to be looking at. I want to see your questions. I want to hear your insights, engagements, as our wonderful ladies are going to be taking us through that, sharing their own experiences and some of the tips that can really help us to benefit from that. So welcome, Ms. Josephine Douglas, and the room is yours.
Thank you, Felicia. I'm sure most of you have already seen my bio, so I don't need to introduce myself so much, but just in a
just
nutshell.
A little bit. Yes, would love to, at least a bit. Thank you.
Just a bit. I think I'm passionate on issues of youth and women empowerment, and all issue concerning career development, emotional intelligence, and self-awareness. It's part of my part-time passion and purpose that I feel like I am willing to do anywhere I am. But professionally, I do monitoring and evaluation, and currently I'm working with United Nations Document Coordinator's Office here in Tanzania. Before, I had experiences with program management, administration, and also in general, research and surveys of development programs. Not specific to a certain area, but generally everything programming, all the different issues that are affecting people. Yeah, because where I am working at now, I'm actually focusing on 12 outcome areas, which are very diverse issues, from healthcare to environment to economic growth. So I don't have a specific issue. My main role is just monitor and evaluate the best program to achieve the objectives. So going through this session is now like, from my own experience, what I'm doing now, and if what I'm doing is something that I'm passionate about. I'll have to answer you later after we go through the presentation, because I would like to share my experience as well to build on what we're going to talk about. So the main objective of the session, I don't know why I cannot, I cannot scroll down. Okay. Sorry. So the main objective of the session for me, I just want us to see the possibility that we can actually be happy and love what we do. Just a simple way of thinking about connecting what we are passionate about and what is our career. I want us to see that there's that possibility. Let's explore that possibility that we can actually be happy and love what we do. So that's the main objective of this session. And Felicia, sorry.
Yes.
Can you please just share on your side? I can't click.
Oh, it's
next.
giving you trouble.
Yes, just help me share on your side.
Okay, so please, maybe you can just carry on for the sake of time while I just access it quickly.
Okay, so the first thing I want us to think about is I know most of us now we are still in college. Some of us are graduated and some of us are already working in employment. And then there's this question of, should I choose my passion? Should I go with career? But if I go with career, will I be happy? Or should I just focus on money? Or I should make sure I have both passion and happiness, or passion and career to be happy? Or I should just focus on career to just have money, because that's what we all think about most of the time. So I think these things are very confusing, especially for a young person who is still in college, who just finished college. Okay, I have started, maybe let's say I did finance, but I'm really passionate in music. If doing finance as an accountant, will I be happy? Sorry, let me just share without. Okay. So on the third slide.
Okay. Okay, I think there was a bit of repeated animation there that I'm also noticing. So it's a problem that I'm also having. Okay.
Okay, Sawa. Yeah, so I know you reach a stage that you'll be very confused. And the confusion can start early or late. It might start, you're already working as an accountant or as a banker somewhere, or even as a doctor in a certain organization. And that is what you did, follow your career and you're earning your money. But are you happy? Is that your passion? Maybe your passion is in music, or maybe your passion is helping people. But what you do, you don't really interact with people as an accountant the way you wanted to. So this is a confusion. I think it's okay for you as a young person to be confused. It's very fine. Even if you are almost 30, you are working now and you just realize, God, I think I messed up, or this is not the right choice. It's okay. It's okay. We're not late yet. We still have time. Can you go to the next slide? Pole.
Thank you.
Maybe we just leave it like that without. Okay. So I want us to just think of what happened when you pursue a career you're not passionate about. I hope I think we've already gone through this in the previous session. We talked about the purpose and passion for what we do. And you realize that some of us might be feeling some things in our life now, whether you are doing a business, whether you are employed, whether you are in school taking a certain degree or taking course. How are you feeling? There's that feeling of being unhappy, being tired of what you are doing. Maybe you feel frustrated. You don't want to feel engaged, and you end up having low performance. no motivation. You just simply, in general, feel sick. You just wait for that 5 o'clock to just reach, for you to just carry your bags and go. I don't know how many of you have ever experienced this, but I did. I did in one of my first jobs after university, which I spent 7 months, and I just resigned because I felt like I'm gonna go crazy. I was really frustrated. I realized, no, this is not something that I can do. And I had to leave and try to follow my passion. Which steps did I take to move from that? We are going to talk about it later. So that's how it feels. And there's something called the reality. You might be feeling worse. You might be feeling sick. You might be feeling frustrated at your area of work. But at the end of the day, you want the earnings. You are out of school. You just started working. You have your parents depending on you. You need also to survive. You need to pay rent. You need to eat. You just need the income at the end of the month while you're still frustrated. So the reality is, most cases, following your passion does not bring food to the table. So as one has put it, the majority of people do what they have to do in order to put the back on it in. So don't ever make mistake of assuming that any work activity can touch on your passion will automatically gratify you. And in most cases, people who try to do something on their passion end up frustrated because sometimes they don't have earnings. We have seen most of our artists, some of our artists that we can take example of in our countries might have started music career, but they get frustrated in between because of the struggles that they are facing and the earning becoming not as they expected, not being able to meet their needs. It frustrates them and they say like, why? I can't follow my passion. So they ended up getting back to unemployment in a job that they don't really like just for the sake of earning income. And I know this is what we mostly face. But is it possible to have a career you are passionate and happy about? I think yes. And one best thing that can really help is having a passion. And a passion can drive your career. With a passion, you will enjoy what you do. You will feel satisfied, less stress, enhance the career to pursue excellence. You will intensify your focus. You will become creative and innovative. It's increased also your contribution to work. These are the kind of jobs and the kind of people who they will not even care to stay in the office up to 8 or 10 at night. They will not care. They will not care to go extra hours. They will not care to even use their own income, some money to do something at the job in order for them to achieve whatever they're doing at the employment. They're just happy. They give it all. They don't even care how much they're giving. But how are we gonna get there to this type of job, to this satisfaction? Next slide. It all goes back to what we were discussing in the first session, knowing who we are. Knowing who we are will determine what we love. Sorry, leave it there. What do you love that world needs? What are you good at? You can be paid for. Answering this question will help you identify ways to achieve balance between the cycles. So looking at this cycle, you see that the passion and mission all goes to what you love. And knowing what you love is knowing you yourself. So before we go deep into each cycle, let's go to the next slide, where now we'll start one step by another. So identifying your passion and the mission. And identifying this passion and the mission, you have to ask yourself, do you know what you want? And are you sure what you are doing is what you really want, or you're not even sure. So what do you love? If you already know yourself, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, this is what I can do, this is not what I can do. You now have to explore what you love, what you're passionate about, what makes you happy, what difference do you want to make in the world, your values, the meaning of life. What is that thing that really makes a meaning for you? And what is that real world problems do I want to solve? So these are questions that goes part of the questions of who am I and self-awareness that you can also use to explore this part or this step. Next. After knowing who you are, after knowing what you love, what you're passionate about, what you want to do to the world and to the people around you, you have to also look at what you are good at. What you're good at can come from the natural abilities and skills that you have growing up. It can come from mostly growing up, you discover some of the talents that you have. Some people start singing from 5 years. Some people are good in football from childhood. So there are a lot of natural talent and ability that we have since childhood. And as we are growing up, we keep discovering ourselves. That's the never-ending experiences. Every day we learn new things about ourselves. Are you good at the knowledge that you have through educations and training? And are people recognizing you for it? One of the questions that Daniel and Adi asked as well, what are people saying about your capacity? People recognizing how good you are in interacting with people, how good you are in presenting yourself, how good you are in writing, how good you are in organization and administering. So you also have to listen to other people's voice, because sometimes we might not know ourselves better than the way other people know us, vice versa. So what tasks did you do well and enjoy most? What activity and skills make you feel empowered? What comes to you naturally? What's your hobby? What does other think you're good at? So the same questions going to adding into the self-awareness questions of who you really are and what you want and what are you good at. So the next stage. So this is just the table. Yeah. So you looking at the things you enjoy, because here we think of career and passion goes through the process. It all equals to happiness, enjoying what you're doing. Thinking of the things that you enjoy doing and connecting them with the potential jobs that you might do. This is just a simple table. Looking at maybe on the social aspect, you love working direct to people. You love communicating. You love sharing information. You love helping. You love guiding. You love caring for people. So meaning, with that kind of enjoyment, those kind of what you love, can make you select a good career or a job or a potential job that might think about is education, teaching people, maybe healthcare because you love caring for people, or any other social activities. Thinking about your love for leading, your love for supervising people, your love for good communication organization, you love selling and making sure you earn, you meet a target, marketing, all that means that you can be a good business person. Looking at administration, issues of making sure things are accurate, clear, defined. You can look into issues, potential jobs like government employees or accounting industry or business as well. So you can go analyze yourself, look at the things that you have strength in, and see one of the, which are the potential jobs that you can have. One way of doing this as well is looking into the competences that job adverts normally have. In most of the job advertisements, they have a section of competences. The competence that may need, they might be, we want someone who is like this, someone who is, they have good communication, someone who is flexible, someone who is a creative thinker, who can make decisions. So those are the things that you have to align with what you want in your career. And these are the things that you have to always remember that you are good at. Next. So after analyzing what you're good at and seeing the potential job that you might have, you also have to analyze, what does the world need? Is there a need for the kind of professional that you want? Example, you want to be a doctor. Is there a demand for doctor? So you have to make sure you do enough research. You look into the earnings. Are the earnings satisfying? If it's a doctor's job, if they are paid 2 million, will that satisfy your needs? Look at what is needed for that job. If you are going to be a doctor, what studies you have to take, what courses you want to take. Look into the kind of employment you want to have. Can it be something you can employ yourself, or it's something that you need to find a job from other person, from other organization? Last slide.
Okay.
Go next.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So after you've gone through those 3 steps, the first step is now looking to what you will be paid for. Aiming and using a passion and skill. Now it's just putting everything together and taking action. You already know what you want. You already know what you're good at. You already know what is needed in the market. What you need to do now is to put all these 3 in action and make sure you make decisions now. Moving forward, you set your goals. You check the reality, you prioritize the task, what should start, what should follow. You do education application if it's something that you need to take a course on, and you do job search if it's something that you need to apply. And if it's an employment, it's a self-employment, you have to start looking for loans and other ways that you can be able to start this as your entrepreneurship or business. Thank you so much. I'll end it here.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Josephine. And I just love your presentation. And again, I think this gives us more work, I would say, as young people. You know, we always think passion is all about running with what you love. But here I am seeing how you've just broken it down into, you know, it's not just about what you love or your education or your certificates, your degrees. There is a lot of work to do. There's a lot of research. And just to add to that, I was following this interview by one of the recently chosen ambassador from Tanzania. Probably those from Tanzania will know. His name is Togolani, Ambassador Togolani, and he was being interviewed. And one of the things he said was, just referring to the table that you just showcased, since he was studying, and even when he started working, he always knew that is where he wanted to do, because he was passionate to serve the public. So everything about the private sector, you know, the jobs or things about the private sector, he wasn't so much passionate about it. He was just more focused on serving the public and things like that. So though he started very young and early, you know, he knew he would somehow end up there someday if, you know, if he gets that opportunity. So I just loved the table that was broken down to see the things you love and things like that. So thank you so much, Ms. Josephine, and a round of applause to her for such a great one. We'll just come back to it later for more discussion and more questions. Now, please allow me to introduce to you this amazing lady who is now going to take over from this one, this amazing session. Her name is Ms. Osula Ohuka, all the way from Nigeria. Let's just give a round of applause to her. Please come on board and take over the platform. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is
Good
Ursula
evening.
Ohuka. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak into the lives of the young people. I really appreciate the last speaker. She has been very detailed and very informative. So she has kind of done the background work for me. I'm not going to be teaching much or giving a lot of information. What I'm basically going to be doing is more motivational and inspirational because that's where my strength is. So Felicia, I'm going to try to share from here.
Okay.
And if for any reason we freeze or anything, please help me by taking over. Okay,
no
so
problem.
Here we go. How does it look from my end?
It's coming. We're not yet able to see it, but it says that you have started sharing screen.
Okay.
So we should be able to see it soon, I suppose.
Shouldn't take that long.
Yeah.
Are we there now?
I don't know if it's just me. Okay, now we're there.
Are we there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so let me take it from there.
Okay.
Connecting passion to career. Building on what the last speaker has spoken, I start out with a question. We have established so far that there is a connection that we can make between passion and career. And that when that connection is made, we now begin to deal with these things in a more realistic way. The youths are better informed and they're armed with tools they can work with. So what is this connection? I want us to build a little bit more on that. Even though I talked about not doing a lot of teaching, I may be in a position to define one or two things. But I'd like us to look at this next slide. It says, there are many things in life that will catch your eye, but only a few will catch your heart. Pursue those. So what are we saying? You know, the eyes are the gates of the mind. So many fancies will come into the minds of young people. Many things will catch your fancy. But eventually, what you should pursue or give your time, your strength, and your resources to are those ones that go beyond your mind and capture your heart. Because passion is born in the heart. Passion does not originate in the mind. It goes a little bit deeper than the mind. It starts in the heart. So that's where I'm starting. Now, getting that out of the way, let me be a little technical. Let's talk about definitions and a few highlights about this definition. So what is the career? I start out by saying it is an occupation undertaken for a significant period of a person's life and which has opportunities for progress, or an occupation or profession, especially one requiring special training, and one that is usually followed as one's life's work. I move on to passion, then I'll just drop one or two highlights. Passion is a feeling of intense enthusiasm towards something or a compelling desire for something or someone. And passion can range from your eager interest or admiration for an idea, a proposal, or a cause. Can also be the enthusiastic enjoyment of an interest or activity, a strong attraction or excitement or emotion towards even a person like you. Two simpler ones, a strong feeling or emotion, that's a passion, a strong liking or a desire. So what do I want to highlight? The issue of progression. Once you're talking about career, the concept of progression comes in. So it's not what you dabble into, it's not what you tried, it's something you've been engaged in for a significant period of your life, something you keep building on, something you keep growing in. When these aspects are there, then you're talking career. I also want to highlight the fact that when you're talking career, you're talking about the passage of time. Youth are notoriously impatient, especially in the current generation. I don't mean that in a bad way. So if you want to talk about career, you want to talk about the investment of time. I know that you're currently equipped with so many tools and gizmos, so you get things done faster than we did at your age, but there's still the investment of time. So let's move on. Okay, so in the light of all this, I'm coming to the next issue, decisions. And I'm opening that with this slide that contains the words of Stephen Covey. He says, I am not a product of my circumstances, I am a product of my decisions. I need the young men and women out there listening to realize that in life, you must show up and you must be participatory. You can't get anything by observation. There's always the tendency to want to just slack and float in life, but you're not going to get anywhere in that kind of narrative. There are decisions you will have to make that nobody else can make for you. And the excuse that your circumstances are responsible for whatever is going on in your life or a sustained period of non-performance is not really true. A decision you make can change any circumstance. And in fact, whatever circumstances you're in are due to either decisions you've made or failed to make, or those that are responsible for you. So I hope we're co-opting these things. You have big decisions to make. Nobody can make them for you. And the whole point of this exercise that we're all involved in is to equip you to make the best decisions. So talking about decisions, I open with, when you are young, life is a freeway of possibilities. A freeway of possibilities, but it becomes even more complicated if you're multi-talented. People who are multi-talented face a dilemma. When you have one gift or a talent, it's easy for you to focus, to invest that, to build on it, and you usually get your rewards faster. But you see, multi-talent seems to cause a kind of distraction for people. They don't develop focus early. They're trying this, they're trying that. And remember, we talked about the passage of time in career. In the period you're trying this and that, time is going. So a multi-talented person has a particular dilemma. What do you do? Is it a curse? No, it's a gift. What I found out, because I'm one of the, I fall into that category, is that what works is to focus on what is your dominant gift. I really like them to get this. What is your dominant gift? Focus on that one, build on it, build a life around it. Then with the results and the rewards of that particular gift, you can now invest in this other talents, and it won't be a distraction. You will build what other people can participate in. So try to escape that dilemma if you're listening today and you're multi-talented. And I talk about choices. You have choices to make. That is the wonderful thing about being a human being. We have a will. We are blessed with a will. We can choose. And because you're blessed with a will, you are responsible. Take responsibility. You can't escape this. And every decision you make now must be made in sobriety. What does it mean to make decisions in a sober manner? It means to make decisions that are made by bringing into consideration every relevant fact. Like the last speaker has given us so much information about what you should bring into consideration when you're choosing. Now, if after this particular seminar or webinar, you throw away all the material that's been given to you, you're not likely to be making sober decisions. Because I said sober decisions are decisions based on incorporating whatever information and ideas are relevant to that choice. So the choices that you're going to make must take into consideration your personal attributes, and this must be the ones that help you realize your basic life values. Everyone has values. If we listen to the awareness, self-awareness teachings earlier, we'll realize that one of them spoke about core values, or the core of who you are, the things you can change and the things that you will not change, because they are core at the core of who you are. So we all have basic life values. So when you're making choices about career, you must make choices soberly, and they must take into consideration your attributes and your basic core values, because only by incorporating these will you find satisfaction in anything you're going to do. And this is going to influence your direction, satisfaction, and fulfillment in life. And the sum total of decisions that you make will direct the kind of educational, social, economic, political, and spiritual endeavors that you engage in, and will reflect your unique personality characteristics and your basic values. So we're moving on to the next slide. So we've talked about decisions, try to define career, define success, passion. So I want to start out, I like these quotes, that kind of bring the picture better than I ever could. we all know about or have heard of Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. I think it's very profound. And you may have guessed that the next thing I'm going to talk about is career success. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. Why is it necessary to talk about this? Everyone must have a personal definition of success. And satisfaction in life is based on realizing or actualizing that personal definition of success. There's no time for me to elaborate on the story I had, because I'm conscious of time, I had hoped to talk about, but I'll just summarize it by saying a certain young man born into a very wealthy family, an American family, everything at his disposal, people were shocked. He was the heir apparent to all the wealth of his father. But at the particular age he was expected to take over the company business, he abandoned everything, retreated into the woods, he said, to find himself. And he started a religion that many people will still follow today. Now, some people will look at that young man as a failure because he didn't continue with what his father built. But the young man is ridiculously happy and is actually engaged in making other people very happy. So if we follow the definition of Ralph Waldo Emerson, because he has helped other people to live and be happy, he's already a success. But we must realize that we're in Africa, and there's one issue that is very central to us. We're dealing with poverty. We're still dealing with poverty, and it has a strong influence on the decisions that our youth make and the choices that they make. It will be very hard to find a young man in Africa who is talking about career and the financial is not a major issue. I mean, in my country, Nigeria, I despair of the kind of things that you hear young people saying, because that particular issue of poverty and the attendant needs to grab whatever is available has kind of upended the scale that values are now being lost. It's all about how much money can you make. We're losing a dimension of, okay, people are saying the end justifies the means, but we were not taught that when we were growing up. You succeed, but you succeed right, or you have no respect in the society. But the way things are now is just succeed by any means. And I'm hoping that as you hear me tonight, you can correct yourself. Yes, you must have the financial, because you can't live oblivious of the fact that poverty is an issue in Africa, but you must incorporate it in the context of what we're talking about today, your passion and then your career. So what is career success to you as an individual? Is it climbing the ladder of success? We have stressed on progression. Is it getting to the top of the ladder? Somebody said success is not a destination, it's a journey. So be careful how you define success to yourself. If you're moving and you're progressing in your career, you're succeeding. Everybody is not going to make it to be the president of one particular corporation. It's not possible. But if you have progression and you have rewards, you can consider that a level of success. Again, I ask you, what is success to you? My definition is that success is having your highest heart desires met and your greatest dream fulfilled. And I must confess, this is not an original. I borrowed this from a gentleman called Russell Walden. Having your highest heart desires met and your greatest dreams fulfilled. Whether it's to go to the moon, to be the first African on Mars, to eradicate poverty and hunger in Africa, it's your dream. It's your highest heart desire. If that is fulfilled, you have succeeded. If you have sustained passion in what you're doing, that's success on its own. Because you see, we need passion to produce success. But success itself fuels passion. So if you're in a place where you're still passionate about what you're doing, it's an indication that you're succeeding. Because passion can't run out like we know fuel can finish. If you have opportunity to keep developing yourself, you're developing new skills, you're keeping current with what's going on in your industry and around you, that's a level of success. If you're still excited about the past, your experiences, your current experiences, and you're looking forward futuristically in a happy way, you are actually succeeding. Now, I want you to look at the next slide. I don't know how many of us saw this movie, the Pursuit of Happiness. starring Will Smith and his son Jaden Smith. The story is based on a gentleman called Chris Gardner, and I'm going to talk more about that because I use this to introduce the next one. In the US Declaration of Independence of 1776, there's a phrase I love. It says, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they tell us that there are three inalienable rights given to man by his creator, and that governments everywhere are supposed to protect these rights. And these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that these rights cannot be separated from us. They're inherent to us. Okay, so you may not be a person of faith, but even if you're not a person of faith, there's an inherent drive in you. But if you're a person of faith, you know you have a creator and you believe he puts in you a drive, and that it is a pursuit for self-actualization that we call the pursuit of happiness. If you self-actualize according to what's coded into you in creation, then you will be happy. It may not always translate to material success at first, but you will be happy. So we're usually driven to succeed in the area that is coded into us by the time we're created. And it is that drive that we call passion. Your highest heart's desires, as I said earlier, and your greatest dreams. Every person at all times is consciously and unconsciously reaching for these. The only time you see people stop reaching for these highest heart desires is when their spirits are broken. And you know, a broken spirit cannot be born by anybody. That spirit is in a depressed state. As long as the person is not depressed, consciously and unconsciously, they are reaching for that. So if I just talk a little bit about the pursuit of happiness, we see Chris Gardner, in case you haven't seen the movie, young man, young family, engaged in the sale of some new product for measuring bone density that was better than what was currently on the X-ray machines. Had a hard time convincing anybody to buy from him, was a big struggle, became broke, his wife left him, became homeless, but he persisted. Somewhere along the line, he ran into a gentleman who liked him, got him to interview for a stockbroking position. Long story short, Mr. Gardner breaks through into the stockbroking market, becomes a big winner, but not before he'd gone through homelessness, divorce, sleeping in jail, and all kinds of things. What kept him going? He eventually owned his own stockbroking firm. But you see, we must understand that it isn't just about him making money. He was able to continue till he got to that point because essentially, Mr. Gardner was a salesperson. He had a drive to sell. He started out selling those bone density machines, but he veered into stockbroking and had this knack for convincing people to buy whatever he had, which eventually translated to material success. We all have a sense of purpose at birth. It is sharpened as we grow and interact in life. It whets our appetite for success, but in each of us, it gives us different passions. So how do we connect our passion to all this? Because I'm getting ready to round up now. I say to the youth that your passion is your get up and go when you're knocked down. Whether you like it or not, before you succeed on this earth, you would have taken a few knocks. You would have experienced certain things that take you by surprise, that want to paralyze you. And if you don't have passion, you will want to remain on the ground. But when you have passion, when you knock down, you will get up and go again. Your passion is your staying power when the going gets rough. If I may borrow an example from the Bible, you set out to the sea and then the ocean gets rough. It's only passion that can keep you going. Your passion is your ability to endure when your results are coming in a little slower. You launched out in business and suddenly inflation gets in, things beyond your control. If it was only about making money, you will despair and you will most likely give up. But if there's a passion for what you're doing, you're likely to be the person that will hold on until the next wave comes, because the next wave always comes. There's always a second speed. There's always a breakthrough, but it is for the persistence. And you only break through in the areas that you have passion to keep going. Your passion enables you to create the extraordinary. Someone said to me that you will only excel at the things you are obsessed with. And you know that obsession is an extreme state of absorption and passion. People will think you're crazy. People thought Chris Gardner in The Pursuit of Happiness was crazy. His wife thought he was crazy. But that passion or that obsession kept him going. This is the principle behind the laser beam. It's a narrow beam of light. But because it is narrow and focused, it is so powerful. We use it in the laser printer. We use it to cut material, to cut glass. We use the laser to read barcodes. It is multidimensional in its use. Why? Because somebody narrowed the light to one focus, to one wavelength rather, instead of several wavelengths. So where you have passion, you have great focus, and that enables you to create the extraordinary, and that's what stands you out in life. Your passion gives you a sense of purpose, and if I may also say, when you have a sense of purpose, it's easy to be passionate. So one becomes the fuel for the other. I'm going to rush through this, matching purpose and passion. I said something powerful happens when you match passion and purpose. It's just a summation of all that I've been saying. We say people have achieved the state of pi squared or p squared when they match their passion with their purpose. Purpose is doing something that contributes to the good of humanity, and passion is doing what you love doing. There is a mystical kind of energy that comes to you. Actually, that's what I refer to as what is inherent in you at birth. You draw, as it were, on a divine supply or something deeper than the physical when you bring passion and purpose together. It looks like your energy level goes to another level. So I hope you're listening tonight, youths. I want to round up with some personal glimpses. I have been basically for the last 2 or 3 decades, I'm a pharmacist, by the way, but most of my time was spent in pharmaceutical marketing. And then when I exited that aspect of the industry, I went into community pharmacy. I'm also a preacher, and I have a radio program, an inspirational program, where I reach out to folks every Sunday evening. It's called Still Waters. And I asked myself, you know, in the past, I used to think they were not connected or related. But I found out, you know, like one speaker said earlier, there is always one common thread that runs through all this if you want to be self-aware. Why was patient counseling my best part of community pharmacy? Why was the making of presentations my best part of pharmaceutical marketing? Because my dominant gift is in communication. And my passion is to see people well. My passion is to see people healed. And the Alma Ata Declaration has told us that health is not the absence of disease. It's an all-round state of wellness where your spirit, your soul, your body, your finances are together in synergy and are whole. So it didn't matter that I was in the pharmaceutical industry. I was giving people information that armed them to make good choices about their health and medication. When I went into community pharmacy, I became able to do one-to-one counseling with people, telling them the best way to use drugs and get well. When I got a preaching platform, I took it to another level to talk about the condition of men's souls to them and their spirits, their eternal destiny, letting them know that health actually flows from the inside out, that the state of the heart of a man is what actually determines the state of everything else around him. So they were not unconnected, as I began to realize as I got older. So look for your one dominant gift, like I said earlier, if you're multi-talented, build around it. And then with the overflow, as you progress, you can do other things. It is this gift that has placed me before you this evening. On a final note, doing what you're passionate about may not immediately translate to financial or material success. But if you follow your passion, you will eventually succeed in convincing everyone else that you or your dream are worth investing in, like Chris Gardner did in The Pursuit of Happiness, in The Pursuit of Happiness. And this will now translate to material success. So it's a feedback. But before that happens, I beg you, I don't want you to lose your wife like Chris Gardner did, so be practical. Find something you can do on the side that pays your bills while you're keeping your dream in view. Keep your dream in view, keep working on it, find something that doesn't take all of your time so you can pay your bills. Because like the last speaker said, if you can't pay your bills, you become unhappy and unmotivated, and then you begin to eat yourself up and push aside your ultimate dreams. This is the story we see in The Pursuit of Happiness. I'm not trying to sell that movie to anyone, but there are lessons there that are worth learning. I want to say God bless Africa, God bless our youth, and love to everyone that's listening to me this evening. I hope I've been able to make some useful contributions. Thank you. That will be all for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Usula, for that powerful presentation. It was really very powerful. It was like, you know, some preaching.
Sorry, I didn't mean to preach.
That was like hammering our heads and minds, and just, you know, making us to reflect. It was really, I would say, I don't know for others, but it sent a very powerful message to me personally, and just reflect on my career. There's something you mentioned about progression and rewards. And sometimes, especially when you're in university or you are studying, there are some kind of fantasy or ideas you have about career, about your dream job. And when you come to reality, it's like completely vice versa. And what you have shared in that story is just about, you know, life, basically, whatever that you're pursuing, whatever thing that you have, a dream or something, a purpose, you know, it's a process, it's a journey that is filled with a lot of things. And so those two things that you said, you know, just making sure that you're progressing, you're making move like steps or improvements or growth towards that, and that you're being rewarded. Those really stood out for me. And thank you so much. That was really, really powerful. I would like to hear from our participants. What are the insights they got? What are the lessons, the key takeaways from the previous session and this one? And now, you know, let's now get to have all our panelists joining us. Let's talk. I would like to urge you, participants, please, let's engage, let's talk. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand, and then it will be nice. So let me just introduce our panelists, and then those who are raising hands, who want to ask questions, will give you an opportunity to ask, as well as some of the questions that also we have collected that we'll also be asking on behalf of you all. So if you're also live streaming right now, send in your questions, and would like to as well air them. So we have Ms. Ugochi from Nigeria as well. And also we have Ms. Helena Mboti. I hope she's in. So let's hear your voices.
Yes, I'm here,
All right.
Felicia.
Oh, great, wonderful. So let me just have you introduce yourself. I'll start with Ms. Ugochi, and then I'll get to Helena, and then Mrs. Sula and Ms. Josephine will join us as well in the Q&A. So yay, I'm seeing both of you. All right, that's wonderful. So let's start with Ugochi. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm happy to be here and share my thoughts with your audience. And I've really loved listening to all the speakers. And I really like the fact that we're not having this panel after what the speakers have said, because I'll be providing practical insight, because that's actually what happened to me, navigating between my career and a passion. So yes, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Yay, thank you so much. Okay, so Helena.
Hi, everybody. I'm also really excited to be here. I really love this topic of career and passion, and I love what the previous speakers have done. I think I agree with Ugochi that they gave us a very good foundation. So now we can talk about, practically speaking, what is our experience, because I think I'm one of those few people that I wouldn't say I'm exactly where I want to be, but I'm definitely on the path of achieving where I need to be. I'm very well on that. So I think I'll be excited to just share my experience, let you guys know a few tips that I've encountered, and hopefully learn from everybody as well. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Thank you so much, ladies. So now, okay, I'm wondering if, okay, let's hear first from the participants, because I think it's been a bit quiet on the chat and all. So Costa, are you, would you like to join in and ask a question? I'm seeing Costa is raised a hand. Would you like to come online and answer? Let us know
Yes,
where
yes,
you're
yes.
from.
Thank- Okay. My name is Sekavova Costa. I'm from Zambia, Lusaka, the capital. Enjoyed the presentation from Madam about success and passion. I'm still in
Sorry, I'm not sure if it's my network or it's Costa's. I'm not able to
like
hear him.
uh,
Can everybody hear Costa,
more
or is it me?
so in that
Okay.
situation where this is
So sorry, Costa, I think we might have to, we're not able to hear you. Please, if you can just type in your question or your thoughts on the chat. And then Dennis, would you like to come in and ask your question?
Yes, thank you, madam. First of all, I would like to thank all of you, to thank the hosters, the organization committee, and also my fellow participants for having this beautiful moment. I thank also Madam Ohuka, who has completed to provide a powerful presentation concerning with career and passion. I have one question to you, to him, to her, and to everybody. I find myself in great depression because I am joining the university. I wanted to study public administration because I am very inspired with leadership, but my parents pressurized me to be a teacher. So I selected a education degree course. So I was selected and I'm going to study it, but I have no passion. I have no feelings. I have no idea with those things. I'm just going to study it because in order to satisfy my parents. So I am asking, how can I come out? Can I find out with that thing? Can I initiate a passion from my heart so that I can study it with the full passion and I can fulfill my duties after graduating as a teacher? Thank you. I'm Dennis from Tanzania, Dodoma. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dennis. So you're now currently going into university, right?
Yes.
Okay. So who would like, thank you so much, Dennis. Who would like to go first? And I think we can all have our perspective or advice on that.
May I speak?
Yes, sure.
Sorry, do I have your go ahead?
Yes, Mr. Sula, please go ahead. Yes.
Hi, Dennis. I just wanted to say something. You're not as far from your passion as you think. It's just a slight perspective change that you need. Sorry, there's been a power cut here. We're trying to get the generator on. So sorry about the dark background. This is Lagos.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So this is Lagos. Anyway, so Dennis, if you can see the young people you will teach as the future public that you want to serve, then you will begin to make a connection. Am I making sense to you? You want to serve the public. These are the future generation. And that these are people that are going to put right what the current generation don't do right. So if you equip them, you're already serving the society in a great way. But that is not to say you can't pursue public service. Actually, there are some careers that are so removed that you can't find your way back. But with a teaching degree and teaching experience, I still see the ability to work yourself back into the system of either local governments to start with, and even local politics, if you eventually want to go in that direction. But now that you're registered to study education or how to teach, I believe you can go ahead with the understanding that this is arming you in the future to still build society and to grow the next generation. I hope I've helped you listen. I'm sure other people have things to say.
Yes, I
Thank
would like
you.
to layer on what Osla has just said now. In fact, Osla just laid out the foundation so perfectly. And this is because in the work I do in Nigeria, I did work on child safety, visiting schools and teaching children how to stay safe, right? And now, when I was putting an application for my master's in public administration here at New York University, it was my story of the work I had done in the field, serving those children, both in public and in private schools, that ensured I got a partial scholarship. So she's so right when she's saying that the work you are doing, if you look at the children as you are serving them, that experience is going to be useful for your public administration career in future. So don't think it's a waste. Just take it as a career path. As a matter of fact, if you get this qualification in education, you go out to school and you teach for some years, you have some on-ground experience. When you apply to go to school, maybe for an MPA program, either within Africa or even outside Africa, you would most likely be considered for a scholarship. Why? Because you've done field work. So it's because that's it. The heart of public services, you are doing something for the good of society. You're doing something for the improvement of society. And that is what you'll be doing with education. So, and then imagine that you are doing it in Tanzania. You said you're in Tanzania, right? So when you apply in a school outside the country, it's like, oh my goodness, that's a change maker right there. We want to be a part of his success story. So you can see that you have a practical example of your situation right here. So please don't feel discouraged. And again, the thing about parents is results convince them. So you just do your own part, produce the result. There are many things I get to do now. I just inform my parents and they are fine because I have produced results. They have seen how the work I was doing in child safety got me on the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I was fully sponsored by the US government to study for 6 weeks in the US in 2018. Many of my trips then outside the country was fully sponsored. So yes, when I come now and I tell them this is what I'm about to do, they would agree with me because they saw proof. So you just do your part, produce results, and they will follow you. Okay?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sugochi, for that. I hope Dennis is now satisfied. And just to take off with that, I think the late president of Tanzania was actually a teacher before he became a president. That's like a top role in public service. So I think that should be, great encouragement to you. It's all about how you enjoy the journey and go through it. So thank you so much for all those that shared. Now, please, I think let's give Costa a chance. I think he's still raising his hand. Probably his network is working fine because I'm not seeing his chat. So Costa, if you can just quickly ask your question. I hope we'll be able to hear you and then we'll move forward with other questions.
I'm audible now. Can anyone get me? Can anyone get me?
We're still not hearing you well. I think it's still breaking. So
Let me just write on the chat.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So let's move on with Good Luck. I see Good Luck has raised a hand. Good Luck, Nirenda. Would you like to go first? Good Luck, you're on mute.
Yes.
Yes. So if your internet is not very strong, you can as well put off your video just to ask your question, and then you can put it back on just in case, so that we can hear you.
How about that?
Yes. Can you proceed?
Yes. Yes, that was not a question. I just want to say a few things.
Yes.
From the previous speaker. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well. Good Luck.
Okay, I just wanted to congratulate the previous speaker. The speaker has gave us several things, including I strongly agree with what she said, the in terms of passion, and I support the quotation she just displayed here. I strongly agree when she said, "You are not a product of circumstances, but you are the product of your decisions." That is very good and very strong. And I will also say something on a passion that she said several things on passion, but my questions are on here in my community. Everyone has a passion from the beginning, but what goes around or what breaks them, that puts something like a barrier, is that the people around the person who has the passion, and that I mean the supporters of the passion within a person. You may have a passion, but sometimes the people around you may make something like a barrier to what you are going to, what is passionate within you. And sometimes that the passion we are with is not even suitable with the environment we are in. Sometimes we have a very good passion on maybe on our careers. Maybe from the beginning, most of us, we've been having passion with things, but the passion that we have considerably changing because just of the environment or the people around us. The passion is good. Most of
Good
us,
luck. Good luck. Sorry, I'm having to cut you short because we're out of time. So this session is just for quick questions, and then we have our panelists addressing them. And if you have more contribution, I'm just kindly encouraging you to like either come up at the end or use the chat. Would that be okay?
Let me use the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me, so let me encourage everyone to just use this time to just ask questions. If you have thoughts, you're definitely encouraged to do that, just use the chat. So let's get the most out of our panelists by asking the questions. So I have a number of questions here that have been collected. So maybe I will just, we haven't heard from Ms. Helena. And then, yes, so let me hear about, how or when did you or when do you know that you have found a career that you're passionate about? Probably from your own experience or, any guide on that.
Okay, that's a very tough one because I think that's it's very personal for each and every person. And I don't think it's something that you can know like, on those days when I knew that I am in my job. It's a feeling, it's an energy that you get whenever you get to work. You feel comfortable, you feel good. When you come home from work, you're not drained. And that's how I think you know that you're in the right space of where you need to be. But for me, when I started my career, I started off with accounting because similar to what a participant said, my parents wanted me to study accounting. So that's what I went to go study. At university, I ended up falling in love with economics. And because my parents didn't understand what economics was and how it could be lucrative, whatever, they didn't want to fund economics. So I was very similar to the participant where you had to find a sort of a way and manage, those things. But when you actually, when I started working, I ended up, my first job was an accountant. And then eventually I became an economist. And I think it was only when I wrote my first report and I figured out that my conclusion, because it will be a bit long for me to explain what the report was about. But after writing that conclusion, I sort of felt like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And that is the feeling that I think everybody needs to chase in their career. It's that moment of after, because it really is like when navigating a career is very similar to navigating your life. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no correct or wrong path. It's sort of like you're going by faith, you're going by instinct, you're going by hoping and praying that this is where you're supposed to be, guided by I think always be guided by what problems do you want to contribute to in your society. If you can answer that question, everything else will fall through, because then you'll know what sector you'll be, then you'll know where you need to be, and you'll also understand, like Ursula was saying, what is your top level of the career? Because to someone else, maybe for them, unless they're director or the CEO of the company, they'll never be happy. That is their target. For somebody else, as long as they're contributing to that industry, they're happy. So it is a very personal choice where you first need to define what is your definition of success and what problems do I want to solve. And when you can answer those two questions, then you'll be able to identify whether or not you're in the right space.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And one thing I picked from that is like you have just to try to do different things and find where you truly feel like I fit in. So let's hear from Ms. Ugochi. How was it for you? What has been your journey, in connecting passion and career? Did it just come, or what was your experience like, if you'd like to share?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So after I started full-time work, in the aviation industry as a cabin crew. And then a year on the job, my boss thought, okay, you are intelligent, let's make you the safety officer. And I wasn't really sure what being a safety officer was all about. So I did my own research. And as I researched, I liked what I was finding. Because honestly, when I was on the cabin crew job, what some people would call flight attendant or air hostess. So in case you're wondering what is cabin crew, yes. So while I was on that job, I wanted something else. I knew I wanted to do it for just 2 to 3 years. So when I now got this opportunity 1 year on the job to have the safety officer role as part of my work as a cabin crew, and I liked what I was finding in my research. So I thought, okay, this is something I would like to build more competence in. So I started learning, I started reading more. So you see, I was just asked to be a safety officer within cabin services. But because I did my research and I liked what I was finding, I now went the extra mile. I started reading more about it. And in reading more about it, I saw that if I had certain certifications, if I had work experience, it would be easy to switch to that career pathway. And so I started to do that. But remember, I had a full-time job as a cabin crew. So what did I do? I had to use my off days, my leave, to learn and to work. So every time during my leave, my colleagues were traveling out of the country for holiday because, we were paid well, we could afford it. I was going to class, I was taking courses, I was learning because I knew the bigger picture. Right? So I did those courses. And then after doing the courses, again, I needed work experience. So I started going to volunteer, to work for free in health and safety organizations, just to build experience. Now, in the course of doing all that, at some point during my work, I got inspiration to start my own work on child safety, still within the airline. But remember what the previous speakers have mentioned, you need a source of income. So I still maintain my job in the airline because my airline paid well. From that money I was making on my job, I was able to put structures in place in my passion, building it, doing the necessary work, leveraging my free times to do those things. And eventually, when we got to the point where the passion was now doing better than the airline job, then I had to leave the airline. So I'm bringing the story this way because it's touching practically on what our speakers have spoken. You cannot just jump out of your work and say, oh, I do not feel passionate about it. You want to jump out to studying what you're passionate about. You need money. Yes, you need money to make your passion work. Otherwise, you're going to be totally frustrated because the bills are going to keep coming. You will need to buy data, at least even at the minimum, you need to buy data for your phone. You need to be able to move about to execute the work of your passion. And so if there's no money coming, at some point, you'll probably get depressed and frustrated. And so it's important that don't jump out yet. While you are on that full-time job, ask yourself, am I really interested in this passion? If I am interested, what can I begin to do to really check? So one of the ways to check is on your off days, go out and volunteer. Look for someone who is already doing that passion. Go and volunteer there first to be sure this is really what you want to do with your life. After you do that during your weekends and you volunteered, you are really liking it, then you take a longer time, you do an internship. So maybe, everybody is entitled to leave in a year, right? take your leave and go and work in that internship for a longer period. Because sometimes maybe things you may not see during the weekend or one-offs that you would see when it is 1 month or maybe when it is 8 weeks. And that now gives you a chance to make a decision. Is this really what I want? Or is there a way to tweak it into something else? So I know that everybody is always screaming passion, passion, passion. Passion is great, but if you do not go in with proper planning and the right resources, you could actually get frustrated. So I'll just stop there.
Thank you so much, Ugochi, for that wonderful experience that you've just shared with us. So it just brings, the reality to what we were learning. And I've seen a question that is just in line with what I had accumulated here to ask. So someone has asked in a chat here, what can one do if he started a program he doesn't have passion for? So when you're studying something that you are not passionate about, what do you do? Okay, so I haven't heard from Ms. Josephine. If you could just go, and then we could hear from Ms. Usula.
Thank you. For me, sometimes, especially in a country like Tanzania, I don't know in other African countries, I know majority of people are doing employment that they have not really started. They just got the opportunity after they were done with university, and they took the opportunity. Some of them enjoyed and created a passion for what they are working on and progressed. And others got frustrated and left the employment and started doing other things, other businesses, or following their passion. On my side, I remember I did social protection in my bachelor degree, and I joined an insurance company. And within the first 7 months, I was so frustrated and realized, no, this is not something that I'm passionate about. Going back to my background, I used to volunteer for community development programs in a youth international organization. And I was really comfortable. I was really happy when doing that work. And I said, no, let me find something that aligned to what I love. So I volunteered. I resigned from my full paid pension, having insurance job. I went to a volunteering organization. I went to volunteer in a company that offer research and community development program activity. And I started feeling happy again. So it was like an experiment for myself, like, where do I fit? And I fall in love with monitoring programs, evaluation of programs, seeing that beneficiaries are really impacted and are satisfied with the work that we are doing. And that is what I'm currently even doing. And I'm passionate about it. And it's not something that I did in my university, but I found that happiness while practicing it. And with that, I started gaining more experience and also taking courses to improve it, because it's not something that I did in my education. So as I told you in my session, you need a good research to know exactly what you want, what makes you happy. Work on researching how you're going to get that experience. If it's education, how you're going to get that education, and practice it. Volunteer, as other colleagues said. See how better you can do it, and see if it really satisfies your happiness. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Douglas. I think you're still echoing the fact that we have to practice, we have to go out there and just do things. And one thing you talked about research, I'll come back to that in our questions. Maybe Ms. Usula, would you like to add on that, or should I proceed with another question?
Okay, maybe just a little thought. If you apply to the university and you find out that you're not enjoying that course because you have no passion for it, I think there are really two options before you. If you have opportunity to change to something that you like, yes, you're young, you have years ahead of you, but that does not translate to wasting time either. If you have opportunity to change. And I draw from some examples near me. Somebody who got into read optometry, but actually had a passion to read medicine. And she kept applying for a change of course, and they said no. Okay, eventually, no, she didn't give up. They said, okay, if you can have a straight A average in the second year, we will consider changing you. So she sat down, she studied, she put in the bookwork, the time, denied herself. And at the end of that session, she had straight A's. She applied for change and she got it. And she's a doctor today. Okay. On the other hand, if that opportunity does not exist for you, you knuckle down, discipline yourself, finish what you started. And then when you come out, try to walk your way from there. Because I found that no knowledge is a waste. Eventually, they are going to put to use what they're studying in that particular one they don't have the passion for.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's a question here. We're not able to hear from Costa because of his connection, but he put his question down and he says that he's in dilemma because he loves doing business and he has a degree in development studies and demography from the University of Zambia, but the parents do not like the idea of him doing business. They want him to find a job. Very typical of most parents. So his question is it possible to find a job and continue with business? I know some of you have already addressed that, I think from Ms. Ugochi, but if there is any addition to that just to help advising him, please let's chip in and address it before we continue with other questions. Feel free to just...
Okay, so what I'm going to say to that is, if you are going to take on a job, you must understand that when you are working for someone, you have to give them your time. You cannot be doing your own personal business on company's time. So that means you now have to go the extra mile to be a very organized person and plan. So, for example, I like to use stories to share so that it's practical. Because I worked in an airline, and being in an airline, it meant that I did a kind of shift job. So there are days when I have to be at the airport at 5 a.m. And if I'm at the airport at 5 a.m., I'm most likely done with work, say by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Or if I resume work 12 noon or 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., I'll be done with work, say 8:30, 9 p.m. So what I did was, before work or after work, then I will do my own personal work. But when I show up to do my airline's job, I do their job 100% because they are paying a salary. So if your parents are asking you to bring a job, maybe it's because they are not sure how business is going to provide you the funds that you need. Because I mean, all parents, when they say these things, it's because they have our interest at heart, right? So it's up to us to show them proof that where I am going to, there's actually a way here. So you can boost their confidence by taking a job, but knowing that if you take that job, and you still want to sustain your business, you have to have systems in place. You have to be extra organized to ensure that you are still bringing in some income. And then you show proof. Okay, so this is what I earned on the job. This is what I earned on the business. Now, if I'm able to devote more time to the business and I do so and so, I can actually make more. Many times our parents just need us to, should I say, give them proof, explain why what we are saying we want to do works better than their own options. And if we're able to prove beyond reasonable doubt, to some extent, I think they would accept. I mean, if it's really about you having money to fend for yourself and you can show proof that the business made more money than the job, I mean, they would ask you to go for it. So I think that that's a way to, should I say, help if you really want to, should I say, bring them on board. Or you can decide to have a conversation with them and say, yes, I know you mean the best for me, but I don't think doing a job and doing the business would work for me. Or I don't think doing only the job works for me. This is what I want to do, and I would really like you to support. And then you have to provide results. For parents, results are really important. So that's what, those are my thoughts. I'll hand over to another speaker.
May I add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to add on that.
My apology. I was actually speaking while on mute. So please, Ms. Douglas, go ahead and then we'll hear from Ms. Mboti.
Thank you so much, Ogochi. That was a really good point. And I also like sorry, your name. Ursula point on that there's no knowledge that is a waste. Like for the participant who asked that I took a degree, but I want to be in business. I really like us to normalize business as a career. Like business is so general. In business, there are so many things that you can do as business. Agriculture, you can do trade, you can do IT and software, buying and selling. So when we are done with taking this knowledge, it's not a must for us to go and do exactly community development programs. These degrees help us to give us knowledge, and it's not a must for it to be practiced in a certain field. It's a knowledge that you take in your life, and you can use it in anything. You want to start a business, you can have a business that aligns to what you have already grown as a knowledge in school. So if you did a degree, but you are passionate in agriculture, how are you using the knowledge you gained in school to make sure you have a good, smart agriculture and make money out of it? So I want us to have to now go beyond jobs and thinking that we all need a white collar job, and think of how we are going to use the knowledge that we are gaining, the experiences that we have from volunteering, from our own family experiences, and getting into something that we are passionate about, whether it's business, whether business in which area, in which sector, as long as it really satisfies us and we earn money from it. Not all of us should be thinking about going to the office. We can do a lot of things with our education and the skills as young people. So I want us to normalize thinking of these small microfinances, entrepreneurship, as things that we can take in as a career. Even big business people started as small entrepreneurs, and now they are millionaires, they have big companies. So I just want to urge on that.
Thank you so much for that wonderful, insightful feedback. I think now Costa has gotten enough input to help him decide. And I think with our young generation, as you both say, it's not about either this or this. You can find a way that you can balance a bit of both, and just making sure that, as Ugochi said, that you're being loyal to each one of those. Just see how much you can handle. But if it's both things, then how do you see yourself happening in each, given your set targets and goals? Okay, I think Helena wanted to say something. Should we have, would you want to say something? Or
yeah, just a quick one, because I think the previous speakers really did a good job. I think also, whether it's university or your personal life, if something is your passion, like they said, you will spend time outside of whatever it is you're doing in the day to do it. In my case, for example, because I really wanted to do economics, my parents said they would not pay for an economics degree. I ended up begging my dean of commerce, and I ended up being allowed to do both degrees at the same time. And that took a lot of work, obviously. I had no sleepless nights. I gave up a lot in school, but I was determined to come out of school with my economics degree. So if it is your passion, you will spend those late nights, and it will be easy for you to spend those late nights. But if you find that you have a good idea of something that you want to do, and after work or after school, you're sort of rather on Netflix or something, it's not your passion, it's just a good idea.
I like that. Thank you so much for that. Now, I would like to, there's a question here about talents. Maybe I'm just pausing it out while you're reflecting on that, and then we will come back to it. So someone on YouTube live stream has popped a question when we're talking about multi-talented, I think by Ms. Osula. So it's hard to bring the discipline when you're having talents, even if you just have one big talent, to the discipline to kind of groom it and things like that. So when one is talented and knows about it and is passionate about it, they kind of not put in the work, the discipline. So, how does that person, especially those who have more than one talent, how do you bring in, like discipline and kind of excel in that as a career? We'll come to that, just reflect on that. Now, I would like to ask a question around job searching. a lot of young people, that is something, or even, they're either shifting different opportunities or they are applying afresh for their future jobs. So what kind of tips or guidance would you provide to this young generation on how to, someone's talked about research, how do you identify opportunities that really align with your passion? Because in many interview rooms, you'll see a lot of young people just desperate to get that job, whether they're passionate or not, or they even know I'm not passionate, but I want that job. So let's maybe help them, guiding them. How do you kind of first know or research and really identify those opportunities? You kind of attract those which you feel like, I am passionate about them, I can identify that. How would you say on that? Okay, who would like to start? Mr. Sula? Or anyone? Just call that because you haven't spoken for a while.
I think I'd like to pass on that one. Let someone else handle that. I'll speak into the multi-talent one.
All right. Thank you. So who would like to go with that?
Okay, I didn't get the question. Could you please say it again? Let me see if I can go at it.
Okay, so how do we assist our young people when they're researching or when they're applying for jobs to pick those, to identify passion in those jobs, or to pick the kind of jobs that they're passionate? We want the young people to have a sense of negotiation, a sense of confidence, not just to go for any job, just because, it's calling for them. In as much as we would encourage them to try many things, but how do they really identify passion in that job? Like, would I feel satisfied, or would I feel great? Would I feel motivated doing this job? Knowing that first before they now pursue it and go ahead and apply. So what kind of guidance, what kind of information, tips or signals that they can find while they are researching? Because, we send a lot of links, recommendations, try this opportunity, and they're just doing it because they want a CV to be full, but
Yes,
I hope that's clear now.
I totally get you now. Thank you so much for clarifying that. So I think that everybody, you should have a picture of your future. What do you want? Where do you see yourself in future? When you see where it is that you want, then you backtrack. So what do I mean? So say, for example, you've decided that at some point in your life, you'd like to be the Secretary General of the United Nations, right? You pick that. Then you say, the current Secretary General and the past Secretary Generals, what did they study? Where did they go to school? What sort of experiences did they have? What kind of volunteering experiences? Just go online and put in their names and check. You would find out what that does for you is it begins to give you information. Or maybe they schooled outside the country, or maybe they did an MPA, or maybe they did some volunteer work or some paid work in a country outside their state of origin or country of origin. And so that now helps you to begin to shape, okay, if this is what was done to get there, if I take it back now, today, this is the little I can begin to do. Then you ask yourself, what are the things I like? What are the things I can do easily? And what are the things that maybe I cannot do easily, but if I applied myself and I learned, I took a course or something, I would do better. Because again, I'm not going to ask you that only pick things that are within your areas of strength and competence. Sometimes stretching yourself is a good thing. So I'll give you an example. So I'm here in the US for this master's degree program that is a 2-year program, and I'm not great at quantitative skills. What does that mean? My maths and all that, it's not so good. I'm good in all the speaking and all the presentation and all that, but I need quantitative skills for what I desire for my future. And so here in my department, when I was picking my courses last year, I stylishly ignored all the quantitative. But when I had to choose them this time around, because I am now clearer on the role I want. So the work I want to do in the future requires social impact. And to make social impact in organizations and in countries, these countries will need money. They would always be developing countries who need money. Now, if these countries need money, you cannot just hand out money without understanding basics of quantitative. So I need to up my quantitative skills, financial management. I need to know how to invest in countries. So social investment, social impact, social innovation. So ordinarily, I would not want to do the investment angle of things, evaluation of businesses and all those sort of stuff. I really don't want to do it. But because it aligns with what I want, I'm willing to push myself. So look out for what are the things you like and what are the things you would really love to do now. So maybe you are really great at communicating, and so you look for roles that include communication, but communication is not the only thing that is done there, because that ability to stretch and learn new things is critical. Don't be a young person that you are only narrowed in one side. You are not able to expand. You are not able to stretch, because what happens is the world is changing. New jobs are coming up. You will not be able to adapt.
Yes.
We need you to be fluid, because see what happened to the whole world last year. We all had to basically pivot. That was a word that was trending last year. We all had to pivot. Now, if you were too straight-jacketed, all I know how to do is only this area, and it is that, it will be difficult for you to pivot into something else. So while we're saying, okay, look out for the things that interest you, but also give room to stretch. And please ask yourself, where do you see yourself tomorrow? Who in your community, who in your country, or who on the world stage do you like what they are doing? And how can you create a path to something like that? Now, when you create that path, bear in mind that you will not be exactly like that person, because you see, God created us differently. We have unique talents, unique giftings. There are things about me that no other person can do. And it's not bragging, it is what it is. Even you, there is something, you bring that your unique flavor to that thing. And that is what makes you unique. That is what draws people to you. That's what makes you to stand out. Okay, so I know I've said many things.
Few more seconds.
Of this, you have got to. So I'll stop for someone else to add up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That was powerful. I think I've seen a raised hand from Ms. Josephine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think already Ogochi mentioned a lot, but one thing I just want to emphasize is that it's not easy. It's not easy to get there, to identify your career, to have that happiness that Olusa is talking about. It's not easy. You need to take a step, like a gold that has to pass through that fire to be refined and become a nice gold that we see now. It's the same way you as a person, you go through some stages that you will have to hustle, and you might have to go do an internship that you are not even paid just to experience that job. You might go to do a job of filing in a certain organization that you dream of working, and starting as filing or making tea just to be recognized and be seen and get an employment. So it is not easy. But the moment that you identify what you need and you see that this is where I need, giving my example, after realizing that I need to capitalize on monitoring and evaluation, and I need to work in an international organization, I started working as a UN volunteer. 4 years down the line, I'm here with huge experience. And now moving forward, progressing, I just realized there are some things that I'm lacking. For me to grow, I will need to have more technical skills on M&E. I need to learn new system. I need also to have more of practical work experience in the field. The same example with Ogochi, that's something that I'm lacking. So in order for me to be able to get that now, with the position I'm having, I'm trying to apply the jobs that are having field experiences, and they are more using systems, M&E system, compared to what I am doing now, which is more of coordination work. For me to be more perfect and more experienced and professional in my career, I need to add those skills. To get there, I don't have another option unless I need to change my path. If I need to get to be a professional, recognized M&E person, I need to have this in the skills of systems, practical knowledge of the field. I also need to even add another master's degree to just be more professional. So you take a lot to grow, but as the moment you identify, this is what I want to focus in, this is my passion, this is the career, this is what I want to grow in, you will have to do more than just sit and walk and relax. You need to work on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Douglas. All right. So let's come back to our question about multi-talented, about talents. Mr. Sula, would you like to take that? And then I'll have a question for Ms. Mboti. I think we're out of time. So let's just be very brief.
Okay, very quickly.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. I will quickly speak into the multi-talented thing, but as a comical converse to what Ugochi said, she said, look at where you want to be in the future, see how you're going to track yourself there. I just want to add that, look at that job that you want to apply to, see if that job takes you where you want to be in the future. See if there's any path of least resistance even that can take you, without any obstacles in the way. Can that job get you to that place you have in your mind? So I'll talk about the multi-talent thing. When I did the presentation, I said multi-talented people have a problem because they are so gifted. They are here, there, and everywhere. And the example we used about the laser is that it's focus that makes you powerful. So what can you do so that you don't waste your time? Because time is passing every day. That you should recognize your dominant gift, which is the most powerful gift out of all these gifts. And what is most powerful, which is the most impactful, because power is for influence. Which of your gifts affects your surrounding, your society, more than the others? Because that is what you would trade for some degree of success or rewards. And then the rewards you get from that one can be used to feed and express. You have people that are, for example, how do I say this now? You have a tailor who is exceptionally good, a fashion designer, but also makes crafts, very good craft. So they start a fashion house and they grow big and they are getting a lot of money. And out of the increase of the fashion house, they open something next door where they make crafts and sell. I'm using something very close to home. So they concentrated on the dominant one, which is the fashion designing, but along the line, they like the secondary gift, which is craft making, they've also given expression to. But if they started from the beginning to make crafts, make clothes, do this, do that, they will never get anywhere in a hurry. So that's my input on that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sula. So we are just winding up. Quickly, Ms. Helena, I just have a question for you. Because sometimes, we can pursue the careers that we love, we're passionate about, but it gets to a point where we feel like passion is not enough. We've reached maybe a wall or a rock bottom. I don't know what that, but we need like some fresh motivation. We need to keep growing. So a question to you would be, how do you develop your career to ensure that you are constantly passionate, to keep the fire burning, even if it doesn't feel like.
I think realistically speaking, I think for the rest of your life, it's impossible to feel passionate about something every single day. But as long as you're working towards, remember when I asked in the beginning, I asked the question about what problem do you want to solve? If you can answer that question for yourself, and if you have identified that, as long as you're working towards that, then when you feel down and when you feel sad, you feel like, this is not worth it or whatever, you will remember it. That little passion inside of you that came in the beginning will be the thing that will say, no, but I need to do this, I need to do that. So throughout your career, do not expect to be in a position where you feel like, and even as you're building your career, as you're building the ladder, remember that everything that you're doing now is for that end goal that Ugochi mentioned. So you might not like what you're doing now, you might not feel good right now, but as long as you know where you are going, then that is what is going to keep you there. So have a goal. I would say at every stage of your career, have a goal and it will keep you on track.
Thank you so much. That's a very wonderful. I think a lot of us, we need to learn that, to set goals, to keep up to speed, get to people who can help you, hold you accountable. So I would like to now have final word from each one of you, but in just like 60 seconds or less. just, winding up about career, about passion, just generally, so that will benefit our participants, way forward from what you have contributed. 1 minute each one of you. So let's start with Ms. Ugochi.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm going to say to everybody. See, many times we're waiting for us to get to the top or to get to that big thing before we do it well. But you see, how you do everything matters. So in the little thing that you're doing now, even in being unsure of where you're going to, even in the job that you have taken now and you're not certain if you have, whether you have passion or not for it, do it excellently. Whatever your hands find to do it so diligently, do it so excellently, because guess what? It's not for the job, it's for you. You are building a culture of being an excellent person. So that when you now step into whatever it is you're passionate about or into the next role, you carry that passion and that excellence with you. So always do whatever you have in your hands now. And guess what? As you are excellent in that thing you're doing, other opportunities will open up because you are being diligent. So don't keep waiting for what is in front, what is coming. The one in your hands right now, try to do it as diligently and as excellently as possible. Thank you so much, Felicia, for the opportunity to be here and to share with your audience.
Thank you, Ms. Ugochi. All right. Next, whoever is ready, Ms. Josephine, Helena, Ms. Sula, just.
Okay, I'll quickly wrap up.
Yeah.
I just want to say that career is about life and your progression in life. So if you're going to build a career, make sure you choose a career that makes you happy, that you have a passion for. Because your passion is the fuel that will bring you through every storm that shows up in the course of life and that career. It may not translate to material success immediately. And for that reason, you must always keep your eye on something that can pay the bills. But if you stay long enough with your passion, along the way, people are going to be convinced that both yourself and your passion are worth investing into, either time-wise or cash-wise, and that will now translate to material success. So I must say that this has been a wonderful evening. I love you all out there. Thank you, my fellow panelists. This has been very enlightening. Thank you so much, Felicia, and the crew of Nani.
Thank you so much. All right, Elena or Ms. Josephine, whoever is ready.
You just want to emphasize whatever the career that we're going to pick, whatever it makes us happy, or we earn money from it. You just have to make sure there's also progress. There's progression in what you are doing. Thank you so much, everyone, for you listening to us, and also for the opportunity that you gave us, Mimi.
Thank you so much, Ms. Josephine. And Ms. Mboti.
For me, the last thing I want to say is really that work hard, because just because you're passionate or talented in something doesn't mean that it will come to you. You can be passionate and talented, and without hard work, it will never happen. So whatever it is that you're going to do, work hard, and also remember that your career is a long-term prospect. So this is working hard for literally the rest of your career. The average person retires at 60. So between now and 60, there'll be different bumps in the road, but as long as you keep working at it and you keep progressing, then you'll definitely get to where you want to be. But if you do not work, then you will never get to where you want to be, and your status quo of being unhappy will remain. So that is the choice that one needs to make in life.
Wow. Thank you so much. A round of applause to our wonderful, awesome ladies, facilitators and panelists who have just keeping us awake and just inspired over this session. I hope you've gained so much, and that as a young person, whether you're preparing to venture into career world or you're already in career world, you have gotten a lot of insights, and it's more than I believe you have been challenged to explore more, because it's beyond. Don't wait for an organization to bring to you its goals and vision and plans and job description. You must have your own. You must, embark on your own journey, self-awareness, know who you are, what you want, what are you passionate about, and then have a big picture for yourself in terms of your career. We have talked a lot about setting your career goals, your vision. See yourself, as a director before, when I just a junior, an entry level person, see yourself, if you're a director, if you're the CEO, what would you, see for yourself? What would you do? What would it take for you to get there? So it's a big picture. There's a lot of discipline to build and so many things, but as they said, it's a journey, it's a process, yeah? But it's best to start taking those things and reflect on them today and seek the best help that you can find. These all awesome facilitators have given their time, their free time to just be here, share their knowledge. And I'm sure they will be more than happy to reach out to you even after this event has ended or while it's ongoing, to give you their best advice on how to go about life. But not just them, I'm sure you have a great support system from wherever you are. You have Mimi Nani now that you know, that you follow. So feel free to reach out to us. If you need a mentor, you need someone to help you, to hold your hand, to just show you the way and things like that, or to ask you the right questions, because sometimes we really don't have people who ask us the right questions, and it's those questions that really get us to answers. So maximize on this platform, share the links, will be, on YouTube, the videos, the presentations will be there. Take your time, process. I'm sure it's a lot of content that has been shared today. Take your time, slowly process through it, share with your friends, set your things, your key points, and what you're going to do, to make it happen, even if it's just one takeaway that you got. So otherwise, thank you all so much. We have 2 minutes to go before we finalize our event for day one. It's been great. It's been wonderful. It's been powerful. So thank you everyone for being patient, for making time, for showing up, for firing up, for comments. I might not have read your comment, your question, forgive me for that. Please just know that you matter and that your feedback, your presence is very much appreciated. If you're live streaming, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So let's meet again next Saturday with much more fire. Some of you, I see a lot of issues are being covered on self-awareness and career. So we have leadership and entrepreneurship that is left. I think once you have gone through those 2 remaining sessions, you'll have a bigger picture, more understanding of these issues, because they're all a part of you. Some of you want to be a leader in your career, or you want to be a leader in entrepreneurship, or you want to be more self-aware in your area of business or in career. So you find a lot of integration. So do not miss out. Share with other people. We'll be sharing more information about the next session as well. Stay tuned. Otherwise, spread the word. Share your key insights, use the hashtags and everything. So till then, I'm reading your comments right now. Thank you for a nice session. Panelists are being thanked for. I wish we should continue. Thank you so much for your good presentation. That's wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So let's have a great weekend and stay blessed, stay safe. Again, much thanks to our facilitators and panelists for your precious time and insights. Till then, let's meet again. Have a good night or have a good day from wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, and thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for the nice session. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Don't forget to let us know how the session has made any impact on you. Let us know. Have a blessed time. Have a great time. Thank you.